life a bit easier for the kids. But I believe the 35,000 is not a bad amount to cap the benefit at.
It's 26 they're going to cap it at.
So it's 26.
Which is the equivalent of 35,000 if you're paying tax.
Right. But I think even that is not bad for the considering the economic climate we're in. However, but I think what the lady was saying, the Tories need to focus as well on some of their colleagues in the corporate industry that are getting away with tax evasion and different tax loopholes that they're filling in, not chipping in. But also those on the lower income scales as well should also appreciate the difficult environment we're living in. The migrant community, as I said, majority are not getting any benefit. Those who are getting might be from the older generations who maybe from Somalia, from refugee communities and things like that. They might be entitled to, but considering their level of education, it will be difficult to put them in the work situation. That might be what is creating the higher number of...
That's a good point. People. That's a very good point. Listen, thank you for that, Solomon. Much appreciated. And to Gloria and Aurora and to Graham as well. 9:45. Here's Michelle. Morning, John. Hello, Sam.
Hello. Hi.
Sam, John, Sam. Sam, what do you want to say?
Basically, I'll try and be as brief as possible. I'm in the military. I'm 30 years old. I've been in the military for 12 years. And reason why I phoned up is the figures they're talking about are similar to what I actually earn. I've been in the military 12 years. I earn £35,000 a year. I've got 2 children. I've got a wife who stays at home and looks after my children. It's more than enough. I have a mortgage, which is £700, £800 a month. The other point is, in the military, if you work in London, you get London waiting. So there is an issue there with separate London waiting salaries. But on top of that, there are people in my family who are disabled, and I don't think they're the people, clearly, that don't... that the general population are annoyed about claiming high levels of benefits. It's the lads like who I know, and I can count off 4 or 5 different examples, who are 20 years old. There is no incentive for them to work because they've somehow fallen into a family. They may have planned it or unplanned having a young family. They sit at home on their computer games because in reality what they want to do is earn money so they can sit at home and play on the computer, go on the internet and watch Sky TV.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I 4 or 5 lads I know who, whether they be friends of friends or people I play football with socially at the weekend, they sit there, they're 20 years old, there is no incentive for them to work because they want to play on Xbox Live, they want to go on to net. Now, I'm being very specific about this type of sort of section. Now, the other people, if you're a middle-class family or a work-class family who lose their job due to the recession, that's a whole different issue. But, in terms of new employment, young people trying to get into work, there is no incentive.
Was that you coming back there, John? Were you coming in?
Sorry, yeah. Good morning, Nicky.
Feel free to speak to Sam about this and to answer him.
No, it's not. I go along with Sam. I think that some of the issues with regards to young people and that. But I think that you've got to understand that the proposals in this policy are that people under 25 will not get full housing benefit, and they're proposing to extend that to people under 35 who will not get full housing benefit. Most of this is about housing benefit. There is mitigation for people to have large amounts of housing benefit to pay because, as the guy that's just on mentioned, there are people with disabilities, there are people with extended families, elderly people, as the guy before was saying. Now, what I find amusing is that the Tories can always bring up a diversion like this on the week that we're about to hear that we're about to go into recession again. Now, what I want to know is, where do these people find the jobs that they're supposed to get? I mean, currently you've got in London, and London is probably the most economically viable place to live, you've got 5 people applying for every job. Outside London, especially if you go further north, you're looking at 20 people for every job. I mean, how do they stack up? I mean, I heard your attack dog Torode earlier saying that the economics don't stand up if you was to double the minimum wage. Well, does he earn anywhere near the minimum wage? I don't think so. I think people like that just don't live in the real world. And I think that the issues are that we are treating, and the Tories in particular, are treating people who are very vulnerable in lots of cases unfairly.
Why do you see the polls that are out on this? Why do the vast majority of people support this benefit cap? 36%.
Yes.
in the poll said it should be £20,000, not £26,000. 76% say the government are doing the right thing. 9% say they're not. And that is clearly why Labour have, licked their finger, put it up and tested the wind. And so they're not going to oppose it either.
So Nicky, can I make a point there?
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, my point is, John, sorry to interrupt you there. I have no political stance. I'm in the military. I'm not really supposed to have a political stance. That's just the way that I am. I just essentially do what I'm told to do to a certain extent. However, clearly I have my opinion. So I'm not getting involved in that side of things. But, I mean, the main frustration as part of the whole debate, really, is the fact that you look at, £35,000 is a lot of money. And if you're talking about a family of 8 who just recently lost their job, then clearly, they need to have a lot more money. But when you're looking at, the other side of the coin, where the people who are, and that's using children as the tool to, make people feel guilty for, trying to lower their benefits. The realities are that there's plenty of money there for the children to have a good lifestyle. It's whether the parents choose to use that money on the children, as opposed to, like some previous callers' points have made, or choose to use it on themselves.
The argument is if they find work, or if they're lucky enough to find work, the point eloquently made by John, they will then be entitled to child benefit.
Absolutely. But can I say, Nicky, this issue about the polls, don't forget the Tories have been drip on benefits for about the last 2 years, and most of the Tory media actually pushes that line.
And Labour before them.
Well, yeah, of course, and I'm not defending the status quo as it is, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be caps, but I think there's also got to be mitigation taken into account. Yeah. And it doesn't seem as though they're taking that into account. There are cases where people with issues will need more than that figure. Yeah. And they're already talking about that. They're already saying that in cases we will have to top it up. So why are they going down this broad line of saying, we're going to cap it full stop and all the rest of it, I mean, they're admitting that they're going to have to top up at some stage in some cases. There will be mitigating cases where they will have to do that.
Brian joins us as well. Stay there.
Regarding the employment point, Nicky.
Let me come back to you if I can. Let me bring some other people in as well, but I will come back, John, I promise.
Okay.
Simon. Hello, Simon. Are you there?
Hello, Nicky.
And hello to John in London. John in London, on you go.
Me? I just spoke to you.
Sorry, Brian and Brian and Elgin. You keep me on my toes on a Monday morning. Brian and Elgin. Hiya, Brian. Go on.
Good morning, Nicky. How are you doing?
Fine.
I phoned up because I've been driving around Elgin this morning. I've been listening to the conversation that's going on. It's not so bad, actually.
Yeah.
The experience I've got from it, again, I'm ex-military, so again, politically sort of swing and go either way, and but I've got my opinion, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
From family experience, I've got one member of the family who's sort of married into the family, who's been taught all of his life on how to get benefit. At his wedding, he was bragging to the whole family, "Why should I work when you lot work for me and I get all your money from the benefits?" He's got a brand new house. He's got a brand new car that he doesn't need because he's supposed to be on disability allowance. But again, he's not. He just knows what lies to say and what doctors go to. And they've just bought a brand new static caravan. I've just done 22, 23 years in the Air Force. I got to, an all right rank. I can't afford to do that. I work my backside off. So why these people, I know there are people who are out there who are desperate. Give the money, a reasonable amount of money, to the people who need it. Why are people getting these 35,000? I wish I was getting 35,000. Work my backside off.
Simon, what would you say to that? Simon in Somerset.
Hello, Nicky. Good morning.
Answer Brian's point.
Well, first of all, this is a classic smoke and mirrors. Look over there at those people, these few people, while we rob you. The classic was with people's vehicles, cars. Most people will tell you they own their vehicles. Actually, they don't. If you look at the registration document, it says registered keeper. Now, keepers mean that you don't own it. You're just looking after it. And the owner is the DVLA. And
how do you answer Brian? Brian put a very direct point about a member of his family. Well, it's all about answering points.
This is about the whole benefit system. system. You're people are picking out people who are not working or who are on disability allowance. This is all benefits. This will include people who are working tax credits. This is everything. Yeah, and again, it's a look over there at those few people while we rob the vast majority of the country. And people like Vodafone, who owe £6 billion in taxes, will get away with it again. Because we're looking over there at a few people who are being highlighted by the press and MPs.
Scapegoating.
While the Conservative government robs us all over again.
John, I promised to come to you to come back. What did you want to say about the job market?
Well, what I was saying, and the point that the guy is just making actually is a relevant one. I mean, the thing is with the job market, this government has decided that it doesn't want public sector workers. So, of course, there are large areas in both the north and the Midlands and even in London where people are now becoming unemployed. Cameron told us that the private sector would pick up these jobs, but they're not. And what's happening is, this week is about to show, and no doubt about it, we're going to go into the first part of a double-dip recession. So, I mean, what's the answer to this? I mean, the answer is that the Tories need
is to take the head of the tax department out for lunch so that you can avoid paying vast quantities of taxes because you're buddying up with the right people. Yet again, it is the poor who will pay through the nose, through the streets, through eating rubbish, cheap food, because the rich know the right people to take out to dinner.
Just a necessary legal point of information. The point you make about Vodafone is a matter of debate. John, thank you for that. Listen, Jane in Shrewsbury. Hello, Jane.
Hello.
Good morning.
Thank you, Nicky. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much indeed, Simon. Bye-bye. Jane, what do you want to say?
Well, the point I was making is that most of the debate seems to have been centred around children's issues. I think it's been pointed out that benefits affect a wide range of the population. And with regards to child benefit in particular, it's generally accepted that one of the big greatest threats to the planet as we know it in the future is population growth. And I find it very difficult to understand why governments are still paying people to have children. The whole point of child benefit when it was introduced was to ensure that mothers had money to put food on the table for their children, going back to the days when men were paid on a weekly basis and quite often went to the pub on the way home and didn't bring the money home to the wife. Those days are gone. We've now got people across the whole spectrum of the population getting child benefit for, numerous children. I haven't got a problem with, say, people getting child benefit for 2 children, but do they really need it for any more if they can't afford to have them? Why?
Nicky, I agree there. Again, I know people, and it's not just this one relative I have, who have children to get a better house. I know 3 people who have done that just to get a better house. Comparative to these people, I'm the poor one. I'm the one who can't afford Sky, HD, Sky Sports, to give big TV, to go on foreign holidays. They're on benefits. I'm poor, but I work my backside off. These people, this is not a big sweeping statement. A few people out there, if they had their backsides kicked and actually were made, get a job. I know it's against human rights to make them get a job, but it's against my human rights to have to support some little scrote who doesn't want to work. It's a case of people give jobs to people who want to work. People who don't want to work don't get benefits.
I mean, the problem is, again, if you're a young person and you're working for minimum wage, you're not actually entitled to anything. You don't get any housing benefit. You don't get any other assistance. I've got a son who lives in Edinburgh. He can only find part-time work. He stayed there after university. And he is in a shared flat with 2 other lads. And their rent is something like £900 a month. Now, it's his choice to stay up there. But at the end of the day, he can't get any assistance. Now,
we're out of time. We've only got 10 seconds. Well, you made your points very well, and you made a lot of them. Jane, thank you so much. Brian, thank you. Neil, I was going to come to you, didn't get a chance. Sorry about that. So listen, have a good day, have a good Monday, have a good week. We'll be on the radio again tomorrow, Victoria.